Welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, where we explore time-tested principles for a fulfilling life. Today, we're diving into the transformative power of positive thinking, as understood in Buddhism, a practice that offers profound inner peace and enduring happiness. For those of us over 40, who have experienced life's ups and downs, this wisdom provides a roadmap to navigate challenges with resilience and a serene mind. We will explore how ancient teachings can guide us to cultivate joy, compassion, and the mental fortitude to face life's inevitable storms. If you find value in these types of discussions, go ahead and like or subscribe to the channel, so we can continue exploring ways to build both wisdom and wealth. Let's start this journey together. The core of positive thinking in Buddhism lies in the profound belief that our thoughts shape our reality. The way we perceive the world, how we interpret events, and the narrative we construct in our minds directly influence our experiences. In essence, the mind is the key to unlocking lasting happiness and a life of purpose. This isn't simply a feel-good philosophy, but a practical approach to cultivating a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. So, how does Buddhism define positive thinking? It's not about pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring the inevitable difficulties that life throws our way. Instead, it's about training our minds to see reality clearly, without the distortions of attachment or aversion. It's about cultivating an inner state of peace and contentment that remains steady even when external circumstances are turbulent. If you are enjoying the insights we are bringing you so far, please remember to subscribe or like the video so we can continue bringing you more content to learn and grow from. The foundation of this practice rests on understanding the principles of karma and mental conditioning. Every thought we entertain plants a seed in our consciousness, which will eventually bear fruit in our actions and emotions. This is why it is so important to always be aware of what thoughts you are entertaining. If we consistently dwell on negativity, resentment, or fear, these states will become habitual, coloring our perceptions and shaping our experiences. However, if we consciously cultivate gratitude, compassion, and wisdom, our minds will naturally incline toward positivity, creating a virtuous cycle of well-being. The Buddha himself emphasized the importance of right thought as a critical element of the Noble Eightfold Path, the roadmap to enlightenment. Right thought means directing our minds towards kindness, selflessness, and wisdom. When we let go of self-centered worries and embrace a broader perspective, we begin to see the world differently. One of the most powerful ways to establish a foundation for positive thinking is through the practice of mindfulness. Sati, as it's known in Buddhism, is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness allows us to become aware of our mental patterns, recognizing when we're caught in cycles of worry or negativity, and gently redirecting our focus. We learn to observe thoughts as they arise and let them go, choosing to focus on those that uplift and support us. By cultivating this awareness, we free ourselves from being swept away by negative emotions and create space for more positive and constructive thoughts. If this is starting to click for you, please consider subscribing or giving the video a like. Another essential aspect of cultivating a positive mindset is meditation, specifically bhavana, which means mental cultivation. Through practices like loving-kindness meditation, metta, we train ourselves to generate goodwill towards ourselves and others. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending that everything is perfect. Instead, it means approaching challenges with a mind that is balanced and kind rather than reactive and fearful. A simple yet profound teaching in Buddhism is that, with our thoughts, we make the world. This means that if we nurture a mind filled with gratitude, patience, and wisdom, we create a life that reflects these qualities. While the external world may be unpredictable, our inner world is within our control. Ultimately, the foundation of positive thinking in Buddhism is not about denying reality but about seeing it with clarity and responding skillfully. By developing awareness, practicing gratitude, and choosing thoughts that lead to peace and kindness, we can reshape our experience of life itself. Mindfulness, often referred to as sati in Buddhism, is the key to transforming our thoughts and emotions. It's a fundamental practice that allows us to see reality as it is, without being overwhelmed by negative emotions or automatic reactions. But how exactly does mindfulness help us cultivate a positive mindset? The answer lies in awareness. When we become conscious of our mental habits, we gain the power to change them. So much of our suffering stems from the mind's tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. We replay old regrets or anxieties, reinforcing negative patterns that cloud our perception of the present moment. Mindfulness disrupts this cycle by bringing our attention back to the here and now, allowing us to experience life with greater clarity and peace. A simple yet profound way to practice mindfulness is through breath awareness, known as anapanasati. By focusing on each inhale and exhale, we train the mind to stay present. Whenever we notice negative thoughts arising, self-doubt, anger, or worry, we can gently return our focus to the breath, preventing these thoughts from taking control. Another powerful tool is observing thoughts without attachment. The Buddha often compared the mind to a vast sky and thoughts to passing clouds. If we learn to watch them come and go without identifying with them, we free ourselves from their influence. Instead of thinking, "I am anxious," we observe, "Anxiety is arising." This subtle shift reduces the power of negative emotions and creates space for positivity. Now that you've been learning from the video and you like what you are hearing, be sure to like and subscribe for more great content. Mindfulness also helps us develop gratitude and appreciation for the present moment. Often, we take simple joys for granted: a delicious meal, a meaningful conversation, the warmth of the sun. But when we bring full awareness to these experiences, we cultivate a natural sense of contentment. The more we practice noticing the good in our lives, the more our minds become attuned to positivity. One of the most transformative aspects of mindfulness is its ability to disrupt automatic negative thinking. When a challenging situation arises, instead of reacting impulsively, we pause, take a deep breath, and observe our emotions. This pause gives us the freedom to choose a response rooted in wisdom rather than fear. Buddhist teachings remind us that what we focus on grows. If we constantly feed thoughts of anger, envy, or despair, they become stronger. But if we nurture thoughts of kindness, patience, and gratitude, they flourish. Mindfulness is the practice that allows us to make this shift consciously, turning our minds into allies rather than enemies. By cultivating mindfulness daily, whether through meditation, mindful walking, or simply paying attention to our thoughts, we lay the foundation for a positive, resilient, and peaceful mindset. It's not about forcing positivity but about seeing life with clarity and choosing thoughts that lead to joy and inner peace. Let's transition now to explore the vital roles of compassion and loving kindness. True positive thinking in Buddhism isn't just about individual happiness, it's about cultivating a mind that radiates kindness and compassion. A positive mindset in the Buddhist sense is deeply intertwined with metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion. These qualities transform not only our own mental state but also the way we interact with the world. As we continue on this journey, I highly recommend subscribing and liking the video. Loving kindness is the practice of wishing well for all beings, including ourselves. It's a powerful antidote to negativity because it replaces resentment, anger, and judgment with warmth and goodwill. The Buddha taught that a mind filled with loving kindness is like a lamp, shining on everyone without discrimination. When we cultivate metta, we naturally develop a more positive outlook because our hearts are free from hostility. Compassion, on the other hand, is the ability to see suffering and respond with care. Many people think that compassion means carrying the burdens of others, but in Buddhism, it's about recognizing suffering without being overwhelmed by it. True compassion arises from wisdom. It sees suffering clearly and responds with kindness instead of despair. One of the most transformative Buddhist practices is the metta bhavana, or loving kindness meditation. This meditation involves silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering, and may all beings be happy." We start with ourselves, then extend these wishes to loved ones, neutral people, and even those who have hurt us. Over time, this practice rewires the brain, making kindness our natural response instead of negativity. Studies in neuroscience confirm that regular meditation increases positive emotions, reduces stress, and enhances overall well-being. Compassion also plays a crucial role in overcoming negative self-talk. Many of us are harsher on ourselves than we would ever be on others. The Buddhist path teaches us that just as we wish happiness for others, we must also extend kindness to ourselves. Self-compassion isn't self-indulgence, it's the foundation of a stable, positive mind. When we forgive our own mistakes and treat ourselves with gentleness, we create the emotional space needed for growth and joy. The Dalai Lama once said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." This highlights a crucial truth: a positive life is not about selfish pleasure but about being connected to others with a heart full of kindness. When we focus on bringing happiness to others, we naturally cultivate happiness within ourselves. The power of compassion is that it dissolves barriers between self and others. When we see all beings as interconnected, envy and resentment fade away. Instead of feeling threatened by others' success, we rejoice in it. Instead of reacting to others' negativity with anger, we meet it with understanding. This shift creates a life filled with genuine positivity, not forced optimism, but deep, lasting joy. By making compassion and loving kindness daily practices, we transform not only our mindset but the world around us. A mind full of metta is a mind at peace. And from this peace arises the unshakable positivity that Buddhism teaches. Now let's talk about transforming negative thoughts and emotions. Negative thoughts and emotions are a natural part of being human, but Buddhism teaches that we are not slaves to them. Instead of suppressing, denying, or being overwhelmed by negativity, we can learn to transform it. The key is awareness, acceptance, and skillful response. The first step is recognizing that thoughts are not reality. Often, we take our thoughts too seriously, believing everything our mind tells us. But Buddhism reminds us that thoughts are just passing mental events, like clouds in the sky. They come and go, they do not define us. When we understand this, we can observe negative thoughts without being consumed by them. One powerful Buddhist practice for transforming negativity is mindful observation, or vipassana meditation. Instead of fighting a negative emotion, we sit with it, notice it, and investigate its nature. If we feel anger, we ask, where do I feel this in my body? What thoughts are fueling it? Is it permanent? When we look deeply, we realize that emotions rise and fall. They are not as solid or overwhelming as they seem. Another technique is the practice of non-attachment. Much of our suffering comes from clinging to thoughts and emotions as if they were absolute. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, including our mental states. When we stop identifying with our emotions, "I am sad," and instead observe them, "Sadness is arising," we create distance and freedom. Remember, if you like what you are hearing in this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Compassion also plays a crucial role in transforming negativity. Often, negative emotions like anger or resentment stem from pain. Instead of reacting with more anger, we can bring self-compassion into the moment. We remind ourselves that suffering is universal and that all beings experience pain. This shift softens our hearts and allows us to move from reaction to understanding. Gratitude is another powerful antidote. When the mind is stuck in negativity, we can consciously redirect it toward appreciation. A simple practice is to list 3 things we are grateful for each morning. Over time, this rewires the brain to focus on the positive rather than the negative. Another Buddhist method for transforming negativity is Tonglen meditation, a Tibetan practice of giving and taking. In this meditation, we visualize ourselves breathing in the suffering of others and breathing out relief, kindness, and peace. This practice not only reduces our own negativity but also strengthens our connection with others. Finally, we must remember that negativity weakens when we stop feeding it. If we constantly dwell on resentments, replay past hurts, or engage in negative self-talk, we strengthen these patterns. But if we cultivate positive emotions through meditation, acts of kindness, and mindful awareness, negative thoughts naturally lose their grip. Transforming negative emotions is not about suppressing them but learning to meet them with awareness and wisdom. Through mindfulness, compassion, and conscious redirection, we develop a mind that is resilient, peaceful, and full of positivity. In a world where competition and comparison are common, the practice of rejoicing in others' happiness offers a revolutionary way to cultivate a positive mindset. Instead of feeling envy or resentment when others succeed, we learn to genuinely rejoice in their happiness. This not only strengthens our relationships but also brings us deep inner peace. Many of us have experienced the sting of comparison, seeing someone else achieve something we desire and feeling inadequate or envious. Buddhism teaches that this mindset creates unnecessary suffering. When we are caught in jealousy, we reinforce a sense of separation and lack, which only fuels negativity. But when we cultivate rejoicing, we shift from scarcity to abundance, recognizing that another person's happiness does not diminish our own. I hope you have been enjoying and learning from all of this content. If you have been, please remember to like and subscribe. The Buddha described rejoicing as one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or sublime states, alongside loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity. Just as we practice compassion for those who suffer, we can train ourselves to feel genuine joy for those who thrive. This creates a positive cycle. The more we celebrate others' happiness, the more joy we experience ourselves. A simple but powerful way to develop rejoicing is through intentional gratitude for others' success. Whenever we notice jealousy arising, we can shift our focus by silently wishing the other person well. May they continue to experience joy and success. May their happiness inspire others. May I find my own unique path to fulfillment. By making this a habit, we rewire our minds to respond with joy instead of envy. Over time, this becomes natural, and we begin to see the world with a heart that is open rather than threatened. Another technique is the rejoicing meditation, where we visualize a friend, family member, or even a stranger experiencing happiness and allow ourselves to feel their joy as if it were our own. This meditation helps dissolve feelings of competition and creates a deep sense of interconnectedness. Rejoicing also teaches us an essential truth: happiness multiplies when it is shared. Have you ever noticed that celebrating a loved one's success brings you joy as well? This is because joy is not a limited resource. When we embrace rejoicing, we free ourselves from the toxic cycle of comparison and cultivate a mindset where happiness is abundant and shared. At its core, rejoicing is about letting go of the illusion of separation. Instead of seeing life as a competition, we recognize that we are all part of the same human experience. Someone else's success does not take away from our own, it is simply another expression of life's beauty. By practicing rejoicing daily through meditation, mindful reflection, and conscious celebration of others, we shift from scarcity to abundance, resentment to joy, and competition to connection. This is one of the greatest secrets of a truly positive and fulfilling life. Now, let's talk about the idea of impermanence. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is impermanence. This is the understanding that everything in life is constantly changing. At first, this may seem unsettling. We often seek stability, clinging to relationships, possessions, or even emotions, hoping they will last forever. But Buddhism teaches that embracing impermanence is the key to true peace and positivity. When we resist change, we create suffering. We become attached to people, experiences, and even identities, fearing their loss. But when we accept that everything is in flux, we stop struggling against the natural flow of life. Instead of fearing change, we learn to ride its waves with grace. A simple example of impermanence is nature. No season lasts forever, no flower stays in bloom indefinitely. The same is true for our emotions, thoughts, and circumstances. When we understand this, we stop over-identifying with temporary feelings. If we are sad today, we remember that sadness, like the seasons, will pass. This shift allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with a more balanced and positive mindset. Impermanence also teaches us to cherish the present moment because nothing lasts forever. Every experience is precious. Instead of rushing through life, we learn to pause and appreciate what is here now, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the taste of a meal. This awareness naturally fosters gratitude and joy. If you are getting value from the video, please remember to subscribe and like. One of the greatest sources of suffering is clinging to things that are bound to change: a job, a relationship, youth, status. The Buddha compared this to trying to grasp water in our hands. The tighter we hold, the faster it slips away. But if we hold life gently, knowing that everything is temporary, we find freedom and lightness. A powerful Buddhist practice to embrace impermanence is reflection on change. Each day, we remind ourselves, everything is temporary, both joy and sorrow. Every experience is an opportunity to grow. Because life is fleeting, I will live fully today. By internalizing these truths, we cultivate a deep sense of peace and acceptance. Instead of fearing endings, we appreciate beginnings. Instead of clinging, we learn to flow. This shift in perspective leads to a more positive, resilient, and joyful life. Impermanence also reminds us to let go of grudges and regrets. If everything is constantly changing, why hold on to past pain? When we recognize that both we and others are in a state of transformation, forgiveness comes more easily. We stop defining ourselves by past mistakes and allow room for growth. Ultimately, embracing impermanence doesn't lead to despair, it leads to freedom. When we stop fearing change, we open ourselves to new possibilities, deeper gratitude, and an unshakable inner peace. So, how can we integrate positive thinking into our daily lives? Understanding the power of positive thinking in Buddhism is one thing, but applying it in daily life is where true transformation happens. Buddhism teaches that real change comes from consistent practice, not just intellectual understanding. To fully integrate positivity into our lives, we must train our minds daily, just as we would train a muscle. One of the most effective ways to do this is through mindful intention setting. Each morning before starting the day, we can pause and set a positive intention. Today, I will respond with kindness instead of frustration. I will focus on what I am grateful for rather than what is missing. I will see challenges as opportunities for growth. By consciously directing our thoughts, we train our minds to look for the positive instead of defaulting to negativity. Another key practice is awareness of speech and thoughts. Words have immense power. They shape not only our own reality but also the experiences of those around us. The Buddha taught right speech, which means speaking with kindness, truthfulness, and encouragement. If we make it a habit to avoid gossip, complaints, and harsh words, we naturally cultivate a more positive environment for ourselves and others. Meditation remains one of the most powerful tools for reinforcing positivity. A simple practice is loving-kindness meditation, metta, where we send good wishes to ourselves and others. Even just 5 minutes a day can shift our mindset over time. Another useful technique is gratitude meditation, where we reflect on 3 things we appreciate each day. This trains the mind to focus on abundance rather than lack. So again, if you have enjoyed this content so far, please remember to like and subscribe for more content. We can also integrate positivity into daily life through acts of kindness. Buddhism teaches that selfless giving brings immense joy. Simple acts such as helping a colleague, expressing appreciation, or offering a smile create a ripple effect of positivity. When we give happiness, we receive happiness. Mindfulness throughout the day is essential. Instead of rushing through life on autopilot, we can pause and breathe before reacting. Whether we're stuck in traffic, facing a difficult conversation, or feeling overwhelmed, we can return to the present moment and choose a wise, positive response instead of a reactive one. Finally, it's essential to practice self-compassion. No one can stay positive all the time, and Buddhism does not tell us to ignore negative emotions. Instead, we recognize them, understand that they are temporary, and gently bring ourselves back to balance. If we make a mistake, we don't hold on to it, we simply begin again. By making these small yet meaningful changes, setting intentions, practicing mindfulness, speaking kindly, cultivating gratitude, and embracing self-compassion, we don't just think positively, we live positively. This is the essence of Buddhism. True happiness does not come from outside circumstances but from how we train our minds to see the world. In short, your mind, your reality. So let's wrap this all up. Everything we've explored on this journey leads to one simple truth: your mind shapes your reality. We cannot control every situation, nor can we stop difficulties, losses, or unexpected changes. But what we can control is how we understand, react to, and grow from these experiences. Positive thinking in Buddhism is not about forcing happiness or ignoring struggles. It's a deep and mindful practice of training the mind to see reality clearly, to release suffering, and to develop a sense of peace and happiness that does not rely on outside circumstances. Throughout this video, we've seen how mindfulness helps us break free from autopilot mode, allowing us to notice our thoughts before they turn into overwhelming emotions. We've explored the power of compassion and loving kindness, not just as ways to strengthen relationships, but as tools to free ourselves from resentment and negativity. We've understood that negative thoughts are not enemies to be fought, they are like passing clouds in the vast sky of our mind. And when we learn to observe them without attaching ourselves to them, we stop being controlled by them. We've realized that envy and comparison only hold us back, while the practice of rejoicing connects us to abundance rather than scarcity. And perhaps the most life-changing realization of all, everything changes. Life is always flowing. And when we stop resisting impermanence, we find a peace that is not shaken by every unexpected turn of fate. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we learn to cherish each moment and live with a lighter heart. But simply understanding this is not enough. Knowledge without practice does not bring transformation. If we want these teachings to truly shape our lives, we must train our minds every day. Just as the body grows stronger with exercise, the mind becomes more resilient through the consistent practice of healthy habits. Small actions can lead to big changes. Take a few moments each day to observe your thoughts without reacting immediately. Practice gratitude by focusing on what you have instead of what is lacking. Choose kind words for yourself and others. Take a deep breath before responding to any challenge. And most importantly, remember that each day is a fresh opportunity to train your mind and choose peace over suffering. If this content has inspired you or given you something to reflect on, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Here, we continue exploring how to apply Buddhist wisdom and other life-changing practices in daily life. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these teachings resonated with you the most? Which one will you start applying in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. Exchanging ideas and experiences is one of the best ways to grow together. Transformation starts in the mind, and the choice to begin is in your hands. See you in the next video.